It's your boy ConcertViz34, and today I'm going to break down and analyze a Facebook thread from the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion Facebook page. And we're going to talk about what some of these comments mean for the possibility of live music in 2021 and the inevitable changes to 2022 for many live events. In this first screenshot, we're going to look at the idea of if full crowds are going to come back by midsummer. Here we go, Exhibit A. A fan has their fingers crossed. They're excited and hopeful that we're going to have full capacity shows this summertime. Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion says we expect to be back to full capacity by midsummer, so a very good chance. Keep this in mind for some later exhibits that we look at, but they expect, meaning they want to make their money and they hoping that the governor or the leaders in New Hampshire will get this thing back to 100% by midsummer. That is doubtful that we'll have full midsummer capacity. I don't see it happening, but they're selling a dream. They're talking that slick talk, trying to say, oh girl, you don't have to worry, I don't cheat. Yeah, you do. You're lying, okay? We're not trusting Ticketmaster. I don't expect them to be back to full capacity by midsummer. Next, we're going to get some information about the general admission pits and how they're probably not coming back anytime soon. Let's take a look. This next poster wants to bring up the idea of heavy metal shows and the moshing and mashing, and how he really does. He's like, all right, I know it's probably not going to happen this year. And Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion account says this: yes, general admission areas and events are not on the table at the moment. Now, what that means is that while they're saying at the moment, it really means we're probably not going to get them all year. I'm talking through the end of 2021, we're probably not going to get them. They're saying at the moment to cover face, to say that, oh, maybe it'll happen. And here's the deal, folks. If there's any event with a general admission pit, and a lot of them have these for the country and rock concerts, if you can't have a GA pit, you can't have the show. And again, more on that idea in just a moment. But no general admission pits anytime soon, folks. Sorry, that's the truth. That's what I interpret from this post. In our next piece of evidence, we're going to see this Facebook account go from saying, yeah, we're going to be ready by midsummer to, well, just in case, we're ready to have things move to the fall. Let's take a look. And here we go. There's a little bit of a change of tune. Remember, earlier evidence showed, yeah, we're going to be ready by midsummer for sure. We ready to go. Don't worry about it. Sit back, relax. Now, a Maxbox 20 fan is excited. They got tickets. They've been waiting for a year. They hope they can see this show. Facebook account says this: we do expect to be back up to full capacity for that show. And this show is in mid-July. If not, it may need to be rescheduled to later in the season. So a couple of minutes ago, they was all fly talking about, oh, it's going to be ready by midsummer. These shows are still good to go. Now we're listening to them talk a little bit into a hole. They're digging for themselves to say, look, now these may need to be rescheduled for later in the season. What's later in the season? August? Well, you already have dates for that August. September? October? This is New Hampshire. When are you going to have these shows? So here we see the walls are crumbling and we're finding out the truth of what's really going to happen. Now we're going to find yet other evidence that Plan B is really Plan A. Let's take a look. So now we get more information on this contingency plan. Someone asked, what about Dave Matthews? And here we find out DMB, their full capacity shows, they're still scheduled for July 13th and 14th, but we have a contingency to move to September if we have to, but we're hopeful we don't have to. This means they're already in the works of trying to get something set up for September for Dave Matthews Band. They're hopeful they don't have to. They're probably going to have to at this point based on all the evidence we're finding. Let's look even further into this. And the thread keeps going. The drum beats louder. We're getting more information here. So someone asked, hey, what days in September are part of the contingency plan? And the Facebook page says there's a couple of options. We're waiting for DMB to finalize. So here's the thing that you have to keep in mind with all of this. These venues are waiting on the band to finalize their decisions. So they are hopeful for whatever, but the bands are still deciding. And then the same fan asks, hey, do you guys have a deadline on when DMB needs to make a decision by? They don't. You know why? Because DMB calls the shots, not the venue. The bands call the shots, not the venue. They can talk all this sweet talk, all this jive talk. They have no control. So this is what they say. No, but I expect the announcement within a few weeks. Now, today is April 2nd. This thread is from a week ago in late March. So you're probably going to get an announcement by the middle to late portions of April on a lot of these bands like the Dave Matthews Band. And that is key. The bands run the decisions, not these venues who are telling you everything you want to hear, just like Ticketmaster always tells us everything we want to hear. Oh, it's going to be a better process. Oh, it's going to be easier. Oh, we care about the fans. And every year they lie to us. So no surprise that they're selling dreams here at Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion website. And then they keep falling into a hole deeper and deeper till we find the truth, which is that, in fact, they have no idea. They're waiting on the band, and it probably will either be rescheduled for the fall, which is unlikely, but I think it's more likely this will be moved to 2022. Ultimately, another thing that I'm picking up from many of these screenshots is the fact that these shows that were sold last year for 100% capacity are not being allowed to cut that capacity and have it as a socially distanced show. The only shows that are guaranteed to go down for the Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion for 2021 are shows that are new on sale dates that they just put out for limited shows where it's socially distanced from day one. They went on sale as social distance shows, and they're going to be like that. It's very limited. I think there's only 1 or 2 shows for Bank of New Hampshire Pavilion, as I record this on April 2nd, that have that special distancing. Everything else, per the comments I just read off, point to the idea if it was sold at full capacity, it cannot come back unless guidelines allow for the show to be full capacity, and the band's still going to tour. Those are 2 factors that are critical to this idea of these major venues having the shows that have been rescheduled from 2021. And keep in mind, the news that you're reading is from an affiliated venue of Live Nation and Ticketmaster. These are the same people that raise their rates every year, that lied to us about, oh, it's going to be an easier ticket buying process. Oh, we're going to stop the fraudsters. And it never actually fully works. Ticketmaster and Live Nation is that ex-boyfriend or ex-girlfriend that lied to us, that cheated to us, and we just want to believe they've changed, but they're not going to change. Move on, son. Move on, honey. Do not trust what they say. Move on and wait until a credible source gives us a green light. Like, the bands, because you know what? If the bands don't decide to tour, they can talk all this fly and jiggy stuff, but that does not mean that there's going to be shows. The only guarantee for shows, even with restrictions lifted, is if the band itself decides they are ready to go and to come back. And many of these artists that we want to see, they're worried about COVID. They're worried about the spread of COVID. And even if Florida opens up every Live Nation venue at 100%, it does not guarantee that we are going to be able to see these acts. It's your boy ConcertViz34. Definitely like, comment, subscribe. I'm out. Peace.